So you are telling me we spent 2 semesters together. I don't want to even count the number of days. And you never, ever suspected.
No, I mean, are you supposed to have a special look?
No.
I mean, you're so normal.
I'm just trying
and
to.
You're so cool with everybody, and I mean, how will someone know that? Because it's a mental health disorder. It's not like it's written all over your face. Or something.
It's not like a physical disability. So let me just say this. You know, I used to take medication, right?
Yes.
You used to see me taking medication I remember that time my medication, I don't remember it was every morning, but I think
it was in the evening.
It was every evening.
Yes.
So even that one I remember there was this time you asked me, so what do you take this medicine for? And I told you what?
You told me that I couldn't sleep. So it helps you to sleep.
It helps me. But it is true. Look, guys, I wasn't lying. It was true. It was true. It helps me to sleep. But I just didn't want to get into the details.
I'm still wondering why you didn't tell me.
So this is the time for me to actually tell you why I did not tell you. Hi guys, I'm on campus today. I'm interviewing my former roommate and let's see how this goes. Who is that? The only person who comes is Daisy. So this is Akweley, my former roommate. Always fly as always. So Akweley and I are walking down memory lane, like literally. So we are going to show you where we had our room and our hall, which is Ikwafo Hall. It's like in the center of campus. Yes. So this is around the BAM library. Akweley calls this golden hour. So that building right there, yeah, the ground floor, one of those rooms was our room. So this is our hall, Ikwafo Hall. Akweley, can you give us a tour? Just point at things. Where are we now?
Yeah, so we are at the main hall, Ikwafo Hall. That's where our hostel was. So this is where we were. We're on the right side of the place.
Yeah, the garden where I used to secretly pray.
Yes, this is the garden. She always comes to the evening. God. Yeah.
Yes, and that's the Ikwafo Chapel and the main hall of Ikwafo.
The eatery.
Yes.
And the other halls.
Yes. Thank you for the tour.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Guess who is visiting the quarters today? My roommates from University of Ghana. I mean University of Ghana, my final year, because I've had a lot of roommates. So my name is Esinamdra and I'm your girl, and this is my roommate. Can you introduce yourself?
My name is Akweley Okai. Yes. And I was her roommate in her final year. So yeah, that's about it. You want me to?
Any other thing you like to add? Because Akweley is a superstar. She's not just Akweley. Tell us what you do.
Yes, so I co-founded a startup called Vizta Edu. It's an educational tech company. It deals with social media, social interactions of students, and giving them the opportunity to make life easier, including their project work, making it easier for them to go about their projects with ease, as well as go through other projects that we would be having as time goes on.
Yes.
So that's about Vizta Edu.
Yeah, that's why I say you're a superstar. So, let me give you guys a little backstory. So, when I was on campus, like at University of Ghana, I was studying French and linguistics. And from level 100, that's first year, to my third year, I was in a hostel off campus. So when I had to travel for my study abroad program in Benin, thank God for that scholarship, I I decided that when I came back for my 5th year, my final year, I was going to move to main campus because I wanted to reduce costs. I wanted something more economical. Even though I loved my hostel, but I began to realize it was quite expensive to live there, to afford the shuttle and all that. So when I was in Benin, I started telling my auntie that I'm going to write a letter. I need her to come to campus and send it to the hall tutor, all those things. So while I would do my parts, borders away, praying that I get a good roommate. I'm not saying my previous roommates were no good, but I saw my final year as a time to be fighting for my life. I had about 3 or 4 courses to resit, and I wanted my GPA to go higher. I had so much on my plate. The last thing I want is a roommate who give me stress. So I was praying. I kept on telling God. I remember one of the prayers I said was, God, please give me someone that is like-minded like me, someone who loves God, someone who will not give me stress. And I was so glad that He didn't give me more than what I asked for. So I think this was in 2017. I came back, and that's how me and Akweley we finally met. But Akweley, that time, what course were you reading?
I was still doing biochemistry, and biology.
Okay.
It's consistent from level 100 to 100. So yeah, so prior to having Islam as my roommate, I was still had experience bad roommateship. Yeah, I would say mine was bad.
Yeah, I know.
Because mine was I don't know how to explain it, but it was more of I don't even know how to explain it.
I remember she just had somebody that made it very difficult for her to be in the room and be her true self.
I was constantly moving to my sister's room because it wasn't jovial. It wasn't a very convenient place for me to be, to learn and be myself.
Yeah. And then I remember that time you were in your first year, level 100.
Yes,
so
I was in my first
you
year.
can imagine as a level 100, if you have, it doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes some people who are ahead of you feel like I'm the boss. I tell you what to do, you are going to do it, forgetting that we are no longer.
Lights out, it's 10 p.m. Put off the lights, go to sleep. Oh my God, it was so bad.
Just crazy.
But yeah,
so
I'm just glad that I went through that, because I think prior to coming to university, I actually didn't care. I thought, I could handle any roommate. I didn't really put much effort into praying for a roommate, a good roommate. I just felt, I can do it, you understand? And then it happened and I was like, this thing, I definitely need to pray about it. Yeah, so that's what happened, and then God brought into my life.
I hope you are not saying that because I am here.
Oh, no,
but
no.
So what it just means is that we both prayed for the same thing. God, in His miraculous way, found a way for our destinies to intersect. I don't know how He did it, but you were certainly not what I had in mind. I thought that God would give me someone who is in like level 400, just like me, and who I would suffer being in the room with them because I just wanted a fresh start. I wanted someone new, and like I said, I didn't want any stress. So I'm glad He gave you to me. We have so much in common. I'm sure. I don't know if you've thought about it before, but she's a twin, and my father is a twin. I don't know if I've told her that.
No.
And we are both Tuesday born.
Oh yes.
And we love God. We love gospel music.
Yeah.
I remember one of the first things when I came to the room. Or do you want to say the story about how when I came to the room at first, how things went? So
okay, yeah. So I think the first time you came, you went for a camp meeting. Yeah. So
Scripture Union camp meeting. So I spent like a week. I just dropped off my stuff and came back.
I was like, okay. Because I had been in the room before she came. I had been in the room for level 100 before she came, and I was level 200.
So that was your room?
Yes. So that was my room. And then this new person comes and then drops the luggage and then goes for a camp. Who does that?
I mean, I didn't even think you would think anything of it. I just felt like you should just, we are in uni, like, I do what I want. I don't need to really explain why I'm doing
Oh
it.
yeah, I actually I didn't mind. I just prayed that you would be better. That was the only thing that I minded. And yeah, so when she came back after the camp meeting, I think the first time you came with your friend.
Yeah, I came with Esa, my sister friend. She has been on the channel already. Manama. Yeah.
Yes, you came with Esa.
And I was so nervous. I was so scared because what people don't know about me is, like, people think maybe I'm friendly, but I'm also nervous about meeting new people. And I also sometimes want people to like me. Not in that way. I'm not a people pleaser, but I was nervous. Like, will she like me? Will she think I'm a bad person? The last thing I wanted was my name to go viral. That worst roommate of the year. So I was nervous, but you didn't know that.
Yes, I didn't know that. The first interaction was actually very pleasant because she came and then she was like, I was sleeping on the down bed, which originally was supposed to be for her.
Yes.
Then she just came and gently told me that, oh, that's her bed. Then I just moved.
I was really, really scared. I thought you were going to be very, like you will go back and forth about it. Like, I came first, who said that's your bed? And I was also prepared to tell you on the letter, when I paid for the room, they said down bed. Because, like, I think throughout my whole university time, even with senior high school, I've only slept on down beds. If I ever slept on the top bed, that was like my final year in senior high school in child. In that one, I just chose to sleep on the top bed because the top bed was short and no one was under me. So I've done only ground floors and down beds. So even if I'm ever on any floor, just first floor, I don't want stress climbing beds and all that. But our bed was not that bad. It was good.
And I was used to the top bed.
Yeah, because she's very tall. As you can see.
And I like my space up there.
Yes, it's Hotel Akweley. Yes. So you were reading biochemistry and reading French. You were not in the room most of the time, or you don't remember?
I do remember, and that was because I was actually also nervous because the first roommate that I had, he usually got me off the room because of the interaction. Yeah, so I didn't know whether this one would put off the light at 10 p.m. or make me scrub every morning before I leave for class. Yeah, so I was also, nervous, but I think as time went on and I saw that, some Sunday school children, not children, but students were coming to the room. She had daily affirmations. I was like, oh my God, she had all the books that I have always wanted to have. They were so neatly arranged on her table. And I was like, nah, I can't keep going off. I have to stay in the room to build some kind of relationship. Yeah.
And I think our first night, the second day, that was the next morning, when I woke up and I heard you playing gospel music, just that, it made me know the kind of person you were. It made me know that, hey, this person, she has a relationship with God, because not everybody wakes up in the morning playing those kinds of songs. And the songs, the funny thing is that the kinds of songs we played were actually my favorite songs in the gospel music whole thing. So I think I don't remember the exact song, but I knew, I was like, she likes the song too, I love that song too. I was so happy. It's like I've met my person. I was really, really happy.
Actually, the only reason that I felt confident to play a song in the room was because I saw the daily affirmations and the Christian books. Because the previous roommate, she was only playing some songs, and it was so uncomfortable. Yeah, because she wasn't Christian. But once I felt comfortable, I knew I could play. I actually thought it was a taboo to play music in the room. Yeah, it was so bad. But I got used to you.
So what was it like being my I always tell people that I'm different depending on the environment I'm in. For example, when I was a Sunday school teacher, like that's like a Bible studies teacher, some of the people in my class thought I was strict. And I was strict because, I'm not saying I was strict, but it's like I had just come back from year abroad thinking if I do not tell people the right thing to do, they will make the same mistakes I made. So I just saw everybody like, if you are not careful, you are going to be in a huge mess. Do this, do that kind of thing. So by Never, I tried my best to be your friend. I tried.
Yeah, she was actually a mother to me. Yes, because I mean that was my first interaction with her as like a person. It's an ultimate.
Say only the good things. I'm messing with you. Say whatever you want to say.
It was actually a very different experience. I mean, very, very obsessed of my first interaction with the roommate, and then her. She was a godly figure, and she was a mother. Oh, she wake up in the morning, she's preparing breakfast in the morning. Who does that?
Then I've really changed though.
Because I mean, when I wake up, I go to class. I don't really prepare food. This woman, she prepare food. I come back from class. She'll go like, Akweley, there's this food there. There's this food in the fridge. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
She was a mother to me, and I think that was really, really nice because during that time my sister had left. My sister that I always went to when there was trouble in the room. Yeah. So having her was a privilege. Was really a blessing. Yeah.
Your older sister who also has a YouTube channel.
Yes, Jemima. Okay.
I will put the description so that y'all follow her. Yeah. And I remember, I think, what was it like being your roommate? I think it was a very interesting experience because Akweley, I always used to tell you, I don't know if you remember that, I used to tell you that when you are graduating, those YouTube, she used to treat YouTube like it was a university. She'd be learning from these Indian people. I always used to tell when you are graduating, you have to thank these Indian people for giving you extra classes. Extra classes. I really loved your work ethic, how you were always studying. Like, it gave me this whole, you have to be serious. Don't forget that you are here to learn. I liked it. It really showed me that, look, hey, even though we are here, you have to be very, very serious. You have some exams and IAs to write. You know, sometimes if you're in a room with someone who is very relaxed, people don't know this, but sometimes it can rub off on you. There's sometimes some sort of energy in the room, the vibe and everything. It can affect you in different ways. So I'm glad I was serious. Did we ever fight? I remember one. That was the one and only instance where we had an issue. I'm sure you don't remember because I was so mad.
Was it in the evening?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was in the evening. It was in the evening.
Yes.
And you know, I remember that time I had brought someone in the room, someone from my Sunday school to stay with us. And you two had brought someone from your former school to stay with you. So like we're in four in a room now. So and that time we were two in a room, and I always used to tell Akweley that like we don't have time together again. Do you remember?
Yes.
I always used to say, no, we don't have time together again. Like I don't remember the last time. Because I had to make sure my guest was constituted. She had to make sure. So it's like we don't have that connection, and it's so unfortunate. You know, we never really took a lot of pictures in the room. Do you have any pictures from? Please don't make that mistake. When you're in a room with someone, freeze as much memories as you can. Put them in your iCloud or Drive, because it's one of my biggest regrets. And I really wish we had videos and pictures from that time, because we had really some good times. And I think that fight we had, I don't even remember what it is. It wasn't a fight, it was. Do you remember? If you can remember, then you have done well. Because all I know is that I was angry about something, and then I stepped out, and and I heard you telling our guest in the room that you were not happy about it. And I just felt anger from my feet going up to my heart. Because I was a changed person when I came out from the
Actually, that was the first time I saw her angry. Because I was so cool with everybody. So when she came and she was like, she doesn't like that, I was like, okay.
I was so mad. And I'm glad I handled the situation that way, because the oldest now, she would not have taken it easy on me. I would have destroyed you. And I was so proud of myself that I handled the anger that way, because it could have been nasty. And I'm really glad I did not hurt you in any way. I'm not a violent person, but I've just been dealing with my anger for years, and sometimes I'm just not happy about certain situations. Sometimes things can make me really mad. So when that happened, did I apologize to you? I'm sure I did. Don't tell me.
I don't remember. Actually,
But one thing about me is, if I hurt you, I'll make sure I apologize. No matter whether I'm a junior or whatever, I'll make sure I apologize. I know I did. You have forgotten, because you have put it in the recycle bin of your mind. Yes. Akweley, don't laugh and make my guests think that I didn't apologize. So now to the main reason why we are here today. Did you ever suspect or know I had a mental health condition, or was living with a mental health condition, or had lived it? Did you ever? Just cast your mind back.
Actually, no. No. I mean, no. No, there was no opportunity. Like, even when she told me she was bipolar, that was after she graduated.
That was the last day of school when I told you. You know, I used to take medication, right?
Yes.
You used to see me taking medication I remember that time, my medication, I don't remember it was every morning, but I think
It was in the evening.
it was every evening.
Yes.
So even that one I remember there was this time you asked me, so what do you take this medicine for? And I told you what?
You told me that I couldn't sleep. So it helps you to sleep.
It helps me. But it is true. Look, guys, I wasn't lying. It was true. It was true. It helps me to sleep. But I just didn't want to get into the details.
I'm still wondering why you didn't tell me.
So this is the time for me to actually tell you why I did not tell you. So I did not tell you mainly because in level 300, that was before I traveled for a year abroad. I was very, very unstable. A lot of people saw my behavior change because they knew me before I had bipolar disorder. So they knew me from level 100 to 300. They knew my behavior. Then when the bipolar disorder started, I used to have relapses. I was exhibiting a lot of symptoms. They noticed the change in my dressing, the way I spoke, the way I interacted with people, my interests, my priorities, everything had changed. So people, at the time, I remember telling a few people about the condition. And some of these people, because they were close to me and people asked, why is your friend like this? Why? Some of them were pressured to open up. And that's how I got to know that some people knew I had bipolar disorder. And because somehow, because of them knowing, some people changed their attitude towards me. So you see, I was talking about a fresh start. I wanted a fresh beginning. So when I was traveling for a year abroad, I remember picking my roommates, Shika and Phoebe, mainly because I knew that I could live with these two people. I knew I could take my medication, be stable, without anyone having to know. So they knew about my condition. They loved me for who I was, accepted me. And that was one of the best times in my life where I could truly be myself after having the condition. So when I saw what I did in Benin, I knew that coming back to Ghana, I can live with anybody and this condition doesn't have to manifest itself. So when I came, I wanted you to treat me like the way you would treat anybody.
I would have.
You would have, but you know, in level 300, I faced some form of stigma and discrimination. I did face some form of stigma and discrimination, and I wanted a situation where you will not have that burden upon you that, or judge me on my every action, on my every move, on their condition. Because I'm telling you, look, even with my family, there are times when I remember when this condition started, there were times where if I behave in a certain way, they will think the condition has come or I've relapsed or something. So it was just so nice to be free and not be judged on that. Oh, because I'm angry is bipolar, because I'm laughing too much is bipolar, because I looked at you in a certain way is bipolar, because I'm eating, like, I just wanted to be free from that. You get it? So, and I wanted to make you also free to be able to be yourself, not to have to live with the fact that, oh, how do I behave, how do I not make it this out? Because there are so many stories about that are projected about mental health issues in a negative light, to the extent that it doesn't make people who have mental health conditions look like they have a future and a hope. So I wanted you to be free, be yourself, be cool. It was just nice. It was like being undercover for a whole year. A whole year. And then when I was leaving school, I had this pressure, like within, that I need to tell you the full truth, because I just told you half of the truth. So that's the last day when I was leaving school. I think I called you and then the people we had in our room that this is what I want to tell you. And you know the annoying thing, they didn't seem interested in this. Like when I was telling them, they looked, I remember you guys were tired, sleepy, I don't know. So I was like, if it was me, an undercover is actually telling us the truth, I'm going to listen, open my eyes. Like, and they didn't seem bothered. I felt okay. Maybe because it's the last day.
A good undercover.
Maybe because I'm going. That's why they are. No, it's not that I'm not a good undercover. Because I'm going. That's why I'm not bothered. But if I was going to live with people, that's when you will be bothered, right? Or still.
I actually had friends who, not bipolar per se, but had some mental health issues. I mean,
Back
depression.
then.
Yes. And some I didn't even know. I think one of my mates from senior high school was around that time. No, it was the year before we had come to school. We heard in the news that she had committed suicide. She wasn't in the University of Ghana. She was in Tech.
Okay, so you knew that lady.
I actually knew her, but I mean, she didn't have any signs of depression. I wasn't really close to her, and nobody actually thought it was something that she would do.
I heard it was because of her results, her exam grades, or she's not the one.
Well, that's what you heard, but I mean, those who know her know that. I mean, that
wasn't the full story.
Yeah, that wasn't the full story. But aside her, I knew other people who occasionally, I mean, it's normal, right? Occasionally you get depressed at some point, you have some lows and some highs, but I didn't know someone who had bipolar disorder. And when you
did you even know about bipolar disorder?
Actually didn't know about bipolar disorder. So you told me about it, and then I had to do a lot of research. I was like, okay, so they have to come low to depressed and then high, like yeah. So it didn't make a lot of sense. I mean, until this whole YouTube, I mean, you kept explaining. I'm like, okay, so this is what's about. But it doesn't show on your face, and it doesn't make you different from other people, actually.
So there's a little correction I want to make.
Okay. I'm okay.
So when people, as mental health advocates, we always say that suicide is not a crime. So when you say someone committed the act of murdering someone, that's like a crime. So when you say suicide, we are trying to decriminalize it. So we actually say, oh, this person died by suicide, or this person completed suicide. You get it? So we don't use the word this person committed suicide, as if the person wanted to do it and it's like a crime and all that. Because in some countries it's actually a crime, like Ghana. If they catch you doing that, you'll be sent to prison. Yes. So we are trying to make those conditions. I hope that makes sense.
That's it.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
So when I say this person committed this crime, it makes it look as if the person intentionally did it or wanted to do it. Like when you are trying to there are some crimes that you put in a lot of thought, effort and all those things into it to actually execute the crime. Suicide like this, sometimes people die by suicide not because they wanted to. Sometimes it is not their fault. Sometimes the condition is so difficult for them to manage that their suicidal thoughts become so persistent that now they actually go with it. And there are so many factors. So we just say we don't know how this person died, but let's just say this person died by suicide or completed suicide. We don't say this person committed suicide, because when you say commit, it's actually looking like we are regarding it as a crime, and this person intentionally did that. You get it? I hope that makes sense now.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So
I have to read more about it though.
you have to. Yes, it's just how do we call it? We call it using appropriate terms to reduce stigma and discrimination. I've forgotten the term we use, but it's just like that, using more appropriate terms. Yes. And so I hope that so my perception of your reaction to the news was you were sleepy, you were tired. Me, I was going, so it didn't bother you. But what was your reaction?
Okay, so I think after you told us, you explained what it was, and actually it was after you had explained everything that you had, shared what it was like, the drug that you were taking, that I was like, okay, so I had lived with someone who was bipolar, who had that condition, but okay. Actually, I didn't know how to express myself with that regards, because as you said, you were leaving, and also I had already lived with you, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Yeah. But if I had done something, it would have mattered.
I'm sure it would have.
I have a confession to make.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed that I was always hiding. Should I say hiding? But you see, I'm a very sneaky kind of person. So
is it the times you were sneaking into the gardens in the evening to pray?
No, I'm not talking about that. That one is different. So when I say I'm a snoopy person, like if you leave something, I want to read it.
Okay.
I'm that kind of person. Like I just like to. I think it's an investigative, explorative part of me. I like to know stuff. I always felt because you had a background in biochemistry. If I leave my medication, you figure me out. So like you read the leaflet or something, or you go to Google or to try to find out what really is this medication for. So but I'm glad you are not like me. So
I respected your privacy.
Yes. And I was very intentional about that. Like I take it in the evening, I lock it.
Yes.
You only see it when I need to take it. Yeah. So I always used to feel like even if I leave it just around, maybe you just look at the name, take it or something, then you go and Google and find. So I just wanted you to be free from that, so she has a condition, so why didn't she tell me? So why is she keeping it from me? Like I didn't want that for you. I just wanted you to be free, like treat me like the way you treat others. And do you think if we had to go back in time, how would you want things to have been? Would you have wanted me to have told you the truth?
Well, figuring it out,
It
didn't make much difference because you're still you. I mean, like the condition has changed you entirely. You're still you. Yeah. And you are the you that I met, so I can't even make a difference. Yeah.
Well, That makes a lot of sense. Actually, now, because of the kind of work I do, I can't do that undercover thing anymore. Like, anytime I meet people, like whether it's relationship or work, or even my CV now, sometimes I feel like my CV screams too much about mental health, but it's like now it has become like my identity, like what I do, the work I'm in, the kind of people I work with, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm glad I made, like, if I had to go back in time, I'm glad I made the call I made because I really feel strongly that if I had told you, it would have changed everything. Even if I sneeze, you say, is it the illness? If I shout at you,
that's not true.
No, to be very honest, it's normal human behavior.
Yes,
even my friends who have conditions, there are times that they can call you, hello, Esina, what's up? You might even be suspecting maybe they've relapsed. I'm not going to lie. Even we who have the condition, sometimes we feel that way about our other friends. So how much more you? You know, it's not your. Sometimes I try to empathize with people who stigmatize and discriminate just a little. But, you know, you are not supposed to go to that extent of discriminating against them. You are just supposed to talk, find out things, but don't go to the extent that like you're discriminating against the person. So for like you, I made the right call. I won't change anything. I loved how everything turned out to be. So did I ever relapse when we were together? No. Not while I was in the room with you. I don't remember.
None that I remember.
But after school,
so if you had even told me, it wouldn't have made a difference because you didn't relapse.
Yes, I didn't relapse. I was so fine.
See,
like,
so she should have told me.
No. If I had told you, it would have made things a little bit different. You know how it's like being a child. When you're a child, you enjoy your innocence. You get it?
Yeah.
As compared to when you grow up, you know there's evil in the world and all that. But when you're a child, so I wanted you to have that innocence, like enjoy everything. I'm not saying that my condition it's chronic, it's a lot, and I've seen how, like, looking at even my family, how my condition has caused sometimes pain and strife. I didn't want that for you see. I didn't want you to feel like you have to take care of me and looking out for me.
How could I even have taken care of you? You were taking care of me.
Because sometimes when people find out about your status, they can be very extra. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Me, I know what I'm saying.
I
They can be very extra. They judge you based on everything.
Yeah.
Like, I've had issues with people like that where, because of that kind of treatment, now you as an individual, when you're even buying something for yourself, you are asking yourself, hey, have I relapsed? Yeah, am I manic? Am I sure this? Am I sure that? You have no idea what it feels like. Like, those questions, you have no idea. I don't want that kind of life for anybody at all. Never. So, let's talk about when you saw me manic. What happened?
That was during the graduation.
Before the graduation.
That was before the graduation.
Yes.
Yeah, so Essie had texted me that she was having a party for her graduation. She had created WhatsApp group pages.
One WhatsApp group.
Well, okay, one WhatsApp group with a lot of people.
Yeah, and if you leave the group, I'll be mad at you.
Yeah, so I was in a group with a lot of people I didn't know. So I texted her that, oh, what's the group about? And she was like, she's planning for her graduation party. So I didn't actually understand. And then one of your friends texted me that, oh, Esther is not feeling well. She's having a manic episode. And I was like, okay. And she was like, I should convince her that she should go to the hospital. I'm like, when did I come in this whole story? Yeah. So she was like, I'm in the group, but I should just relax and calm down. I shouldn't talk. I shouldn't say anything.
That person was even on the group.
Yeah, she was in the group. So I shouldn't panic. I shouldn't talk. I should just say, okay, yes, to whatever is in, I will put on the page. Yeah. And I think that was the time that you also texted me that you wanted me to be part of the
planning, organizing.
Yeah.
And you know the funny thing, I didn't even have money. So in my manic mind, I remember I was just sitting at home. Yeah, like, and I had an idea. Why don't, and that's one of the symptoms of mania, like bipolar disorder. You have racing ideas, racing thoughts, and then you have ideas. Some you can do, some you can't. So I was like, why don't I have a party? I have people. In my head, I was actually planning like a wedding reception party. That's the plan I had, but just I wanted to have it for my graduation. And I didn't have money, and I remember even talking to my pastor's wife about it. I think my mother took me to go and see her to try to also discourage me, and she explained to me, shout out to Lady Reverend Raja. She was trying to explain to me that even her father was a vice chancellor. She didn't even have a graduation party, but the manic me will not have it. Like, I didn't want to listen or understand. And I always explain to people that mania is like if somebody has taken over your mind and is controlling you, telling what you do, what to do, and you are just there. Like, the other part of you doesn't have any control. So I really wanted to do it, and I really wanted to have it. So by the time of my graduation week, I didn't have money to pay for my registration for my gown and all those things. And that whole week I was on admission at the psych ward at the hospital, and I remember.
So I knew you were in the hospital, so I was wondering how you would organize all that you were mentioning on the page.
Yeah, but you see, I don't even remember the duration, but I knew what I wanted. But while I was in the hospital, I realized that there was no way. When I started sobering up, I realized there was no way we could have this party. So by my graduation was on Saturday. By Friday, I was finally discharged. I came for the graduation. I wasn't able to enter the hall and collect my certificate and walk. All those things, I didn't get to do them, but I did get fantastic pictures. But the only thing I was sad about was that I was expecting some key I was saying key stakeholders. Stakeholders are already key. I was expecting some stakeholders to be at my graduation, not for the party, but just so that we could take some pictures together, because you were one of the people. Like, I felt like, so when she didn't show up, I thought maybe she thought I was crazy or something. All the people didn't show up. That's how I felt.
I actually thought you weren't coming. Because, I mean, the person had told me you were in the hospital, so there was no way you were coming. Like, that was what the person...
The person did not force. Even though the person paid for my makeup, the person did not force, because, like, me... All these things are part of my experiences that have taught me that, look, sometimes when you are trying to de-escalate a manic situation, you should be very careful of the things you say or do, because when we do come out from that situation, we remember stuff. I say we have a little forgetfulness, but there are things we remember which you may think we don't remember, but we remember. So I'm just glad that we've been able to talk about it. I don't know if we talked about it back then, but for whatever reason you didn't come, I'm not mad at you. I just don't have pictures with you in my gown, and we're not able to freeze a lot of memories together in the room. You know, please, if you are roommates, just make sure you take a lot of pictures, put them in your cloud. It would have been so nice to have all those memories, but I'm really, really happy that I met you, because you made my life, like the final part of my life on this campus, easier, happier, and I was proud of myself. I liked that version of me, like, oh, now I'm like, you are actually correct for what. I was so happy, and I'm glad that you have supported me even after school, my career. What message do you have for the 24-year-old me, the level 500 SNL? Like, knowing what you know now, what message would you give her if you had a chance to talk to her? Because I have a message for you. When I met you, how old were you? Were you 19?
20.
20 or something.
Yeah.
I have a message for that girl. And that message is that you are going to do a lot of things So chill with the YouTube university videos. You have no idea the great things you are going to, because right now I would have told them you are going to have a startup, so relax. And after school you'll be greater than you think. And
yeah, so what I have to say, I remember one of the days I used to binge watch Grace's videos on YouTube, and then you were telling me that one day you are going to have a YouTube channel just like her. A lot of people will be so anxious to watch your videos, and I think you are doing the same right now. So a message I would have told the 24-year-old you, who I was in the room with and interacting with, now that I know of the bipolar disorder, I actually don't know what I would have said, because you were so human. I think I should put it that way. You weren't different from anyone, and there was no reason for you to be undercover on me and not tell me anything, because it hasn't really changed much. You're still the wonderful person who always bring guys to the room after church because they are your Sunday school students. And you're always cooking for people, and you're always sharing the word of God to people, gifting people books and all that. Yeah. I would have just told you that just chill. Life gets better. Yeah.
I see. Since you didn't come for my graduation and there was no graduation party, this is from me to you, from the mental health quarters. If you come to the mental health quarters, you have a lot of fun and be happy, and you want to come back. Akweley promises to come back, or you don't promise?
I will, definitely.
Okay.
I'll bring all my friends.
Okay, bring them. So if there's any question you have for Akweley, you can drop it in the comment section, and we'll make sure that we'll respond to them in the next video. So this is a secret gift. I don't want you to know what it is. It's for Akweley's eyes only.
Oh, yes. Thank you, all of you at Mental Health Quarters. I really appreciate this gift.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This, you see, God has shown you that He can do wonders for those who didn't come for the party. This is a message to them. So till you see us in another video again, our next video is bye from all of us. Bye.
Subscribe.
Like.